The KLR 650. Kawi didn't really know they'd be creating a cult classic, or the KLR army, but they did. As a result, the unbreakable dual sport motorcycle has carved out a home in the hearts of many a rider who has owned, borrowed, or rented one. Kawasaki has been doing just that for over 35 years with the KLR 650. Back in 1984, when the KLR 600 first made its way into dealerships, just about anyone who's been in the adventure scene for a while has a KLR story of some sort, as did every moto journalist on the press launch in northern New Mexico. All new for 2022, the KLR 650 gets a lot of upgrades and refinements that we've covered in detail in our initial announcement. Styling. The bodywork, shrouds, and lighting cover of the KLR are all new from tip to tail. Speaking of the tip, the front fender is very much a take it or leave it type unit. The side fairings, gas tank, and the rest of the bike look fantastic, especially in the orange color, which has metal flake in it. So does the khaki tan unit, but in a very understated KLR way. The dual analog speedo and tachometer dash on the outgoing model of the KLR just felt more at home on this bare-bones adventure bike. It also gave more information than the new unit as it lacks a tachometer, and other gauges like temperature are now just a warning light. Although, it does get a nice 1/2-inch bar above the dash for mounting a phone or GPS, and there is now 80 watts of additional power available to use for electronic accessories or heated gear. The flat graphite with camo graphics even has some sparkles but looks dusty quickly on the gravel 2 tracks of New Mexico. The new LED headlight and turn signals bring higher visibility and add a more modern feel to the 37-year legacy of the KLR, while the LCD display, no TFT yet, is, unfortunately, an attempt at being modern. Wind protection windscreens are such a touchy subject with adventure riders, and what might work for one person might not work for another. Out of the dozen or so testers of the KLR, no one complained about wind protection or buffeting from the 2-inch taller windscreen. The stock windscreen has 2 positions available. To change the position, you'll need to remove the windscreen, 4 bolts, and then move the mounting plates, another 4 bolts, to a higher position. Neither position caused any negative feedback from riders, and in that case, no news is good news. With large flap type, not wraparound, hand guards and my knees tucked in behind the fairing, and reshaped 6.1-gallon gas tank, now with more usable volume, we all realized that the KLR 650 is in a league of its own. A winning formula for Kawasaki, that they were careful not to screw with too much. Ergos. The KLR 650 was always a fairly comfortable machine with a seat that feels familiar, like your favorite couch cushion. A low seat height allowed most riders to get their feet on the ground, and the handlebars were even tall enough that the KLR held onto its C grading for comfort. It's the only large single-cylinder adventure bike on the market with wind protection and long-haul luggage capabilities from the factory, available for 2022 so far. The new one doesn't get a B on its report card, but maybe the outgoing model now receives a C-. Rubber-mounted foot pegs and handlebar clamps bring a new level of smooth to the 2022 KLR 650 we didn't know we were missing. The foot pegs get attached to the frame via a rubber damped bracket. This provides some serious vibration damping for your feet, but at the cost of some rigidity to your footing. You can actually see them flex if you press on them with your foot. No doubt, the KLR gurus of the world may find this an excellent addition or a nuisance, but customizing your KLR is part of owning one of these budget-friendly hackable machines. The foot pegs themselves are rubber-topped and have a lot of cushion. A colossal drawback, though, is that the rubber is not removable. So if you're the type to steer with your feet and stand a lot in the dirt, the rubber pegs will have to go. The seat is still the long, soft, single-piece unit KLR owners love to cover in beads or a sheepskin, but it has a new shape and firmer foam in it. It's still pretty soft by new bike standards, and after a long day on the bike, I was happy I could move around on it to alleviate some pressure on my backside. Altogether, no one could complain about the rider triangular comfort of the KLR 650 as it's everything we expected. The new specific handlebar bend is just a bit taller and broader, as many adventure riders prefer. The rubber-mounted bar clamps kill almost all of the vibrations in conjunction with big rubber-mounted bar ends. Only after you get done riding can you feel a little reminiscent of vibrations in your fingertips, and that's me being picky. The bar clamps can also be rotated 180 degrees to move the bars forward 10 mm and open up the cockpit for taller riders. The KLR 650 has been forcefully updated to include fuel injection for 2022. I know the odd KLR guys will hate the idea of it, but it had to happen someday. Emissions and modernization have finally kicked the carburetor into a trash can behind the KLR assembly line plant. So let's go over the key changes and what stood out during 2 days of testing that covered roughly 450 miles. While some readers may scoff at those numbers, I can assure you it's more miles than most press launches cover. When factoring in a group ride of more than 12 participants and photo and video stops, I spent 12-hour days on the bike and can confirm the seat is plenty comfy. That said,